Oh, that was a fun time in space a few years ago with Jeff, my good friend Jeff Bezos. All right, so big week on Thursday. The Music City Bowl is taking place in town, Purdue and Tennessee. Let's bring in Brad Lampley. He was on the board of the Transperfect Music City Bowl up bright and early this morning. Brad, thanks for doing this, buddy.
Hey, Joe. Good to see you, man. How are you?
Good. I really appreciate you doing this. Okay, teams arrived in town yesterday. Let's get this out of the way. Your son plays at Tennessee. You played at Tennessee. Really cool feeling to watch your kid come back and play in his hometown, isn't it?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, he has gone from being one of those little kids that you've seen out there on the field before the game that won their youth football league, title and or waving and clowning for the jumbotron to where he's now going to play in the game. And I mean, as a parent, you just kind of pinch yourself. It's a really, really cool moment, and frankly, one that we'll probably appreciate and enjoy even more down the road than what we do right now.
That is so very cool. Okay, the teams arrived in town yesterday, and Brad, you've been involved with this bowl for so many years, and I think the bowl game, at least from my point of view, does not get the recognition it deserves for bringing so many people to our town and really putting our town, Nashville, on the college football landscape. You've seen it from the beginning. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we just got a great group of people running the bowl game. And it starts at the top with Scott Ramsey, who I think is one of the best in the business in what he does, as being our bowl executive director. And the bowl does, to your point, Joe, I mean, it brings in $20 million a year in economic impact for the city. You've got a game with Purdue and Tennessee that's already, I mean, if it's not sold out, it might as well be. And as a lot of Tennessee fans have come up to me, complaining about, hey, I'm trying to find a reasonable price for tickets, but all that's left is people trying to resell and so forth. So, I mean, there's a lot of money and interest, and, you're going to see downtown just full of black and gold and orange and white this week. So it's a cool thing. It's done a lot for charity, a lot for youth football in the area, the last few years. And, I think as we look at the next iteration of where college football is going and where the bowl system is going, if the playoff system gets changed around a little bit, or maybe some new teams are added to the mix, as I tell people, Joe, I think we're kind of just a stadium away, maybe. I mean, if we've got a dome or something like that over there, and, I don't know what the plans are with that, but I certainly know what I'd like to see. I think we're immediately in the mix for the Music City Bowl as being a college football playoff or a national championship type game, because I think the teams and the players and the administrators have enjoyed coming to Nashville that much.
I totally agree. Brad, when the SEC basketball tournament is going to be here for the next, what seems like 50 years, Nashville is on the radar. And I so agree with you. Let's go back, before we go ahead, let's look back from last year with everything that happened with the COVID and with the bombing downtown Nashville, to see the bowl game back now and everything. And just last year had to be just so difficult because you planned it all year long, and then in a blink of an eye, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, you had the bombing, and then you had we had COVID issues on the team, so then we couldn't have the game, and a lot of folks went through that last year. This year, we got our fingers crossed, as you said earlier when you and Justin were talking. I mean, you're starting to see some of the bowl games kind of get canceled and so forth, but so far, and I'm firmly knocking on wood as I say this. I was at Opryland yesterday with Tennessee's team. The doctors, and everything looks to be okay right now. But again, you have to be patient and cautious and so forth. They've canceled the welcome party tonight just to try to kind of keep the teams as separate as they can. The coaches are funny about that. They want to keep their own guys together, and then but at the same time, not really mix them around with too much of precautionary. We canceled that tonight, but yeah, it's we just got to get to, I guess, Thursday, right? And have the game, and as soon as that's over, I think there'll be a big sigh of relief from everybody, and I'm confident that we can do that.
How much access do you have to your son the next 3 days?
Well, yesterday, Coach Heupel asked me, he said, so why weren't you at practice today, and are you going to be there tomorrow? And I said, no. And he said, why not? And I said, well, I'm not allowed to. And he got this mean look on his face, like, who's telling you can't come? I said, no, Hype. I said, it's just Jackson won't let me come. He does not want me to practice at all. I was like, typically I'd be there every single day if the Vols are in it. And I usually come a couple days when, every other year we've got, whoever is in it. And, but not this time. I've been told to stay away.
You've played in bowl games. I mean, how can you balance? You got a game on Thursday, trying to have fun. I mean, if I'm a head coach, this has got to be just difficult, I would think, to prepare your team, because there's so many extra activities that are out there influencing your team. It's not easy, I would think.
Well, you and I have been around football so much, Joe, and you and I have seen different styles from different coaches. I mean, some coaches really are almost like a third world dictator, right? I mean, you're not going to go out, you're not going to have fun, you're not going to do anything. Some coaches are pretty much, look at a bowl game the way I think it was intended to be, which is a reward for a great season. And so they're letting the players go out and have a good time. I think Heupel has fully embraced the latter approach. They're going to work. They're going to have practices in the morning. They're going to get after it. They had a really physical practice at Vanderbilt yesterday. But at the same time, the afternoons, the evenings are for the players to go out and really have that reward and have that experience and something they're going to remember the rest of their lives. They had an event last night at Soundwave. It was at Opryland. That was really cool. A lot of players got to go to the water park and do that. We took the offensive line out to dinner at Josephine on 12th last night. You can imagine what that bill was. My goodness. When the average weight there is about 320, it was like the folks at Josephine ordered up some extra steak for us last night. But no, it was good. And the players are getting to have that experience. And that's really what bowl games are all about, as you know.
I saw your tweet, the picture out of the offensive line. I started even before I read the caption, Brad, I started laughing, just thinking, oh my gosh, how much is this bill?
Yeah. It was up there. I think Josephine is going to have a really good holiday break in terms of finances and so forth. But no, it was funny, Joe, to watch that group come in because again they're all 6'4", 6'5". I mean, every single one of them. They're all 315, 320, and some of them are even bigger than that. And the people that were in the restaurant, just the casual diners, if you will, just sitting there hanging out, having a nice, lovely evening, glass of wine, and you see this like 20 pro wrestlers walk in at the same time. It was pretty funny. The looks that group got were. I wish I had a camera.
Oh, I can only imagine there. As far as the bowl game goes, it's funny because people think, all right, the Music City Bowl people, Transperfect Music City Bowl, they get contacted the teams, they come to town. Talking to you and Scott Ramsey the day of the bowl when you announced the bowl teams, there are so many people working behind the scenes to make sure this bowl game goes off perfectly. We could spend 3 hours and not get to half of the people that make this bowl game run so smooth.
No, it's so true. And there is an army of volunteers and folks that aren't on the bowl board or aren't getting paid, that they just like going and helping the bowl, and they do it every year. We've got some folks that man the hospitality suites for the coaches and the teams. We've got folks that accompany the teams to and from the bowl site, the bus drivers. I mean, everybody, they're just, you got this army of people that's done it over and over and over again. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday out at Opryland that was in Tennessee's, we had a suite for some of the former players in Tennessee, and he was, he was manning the event, and he has been a volunteer every single year for probably 10 or 15 years. He just keeps coming back, and he was telling us, he said he always gets the other team, whether it's the Big Ten or the ACC team, but he said, this year with the Big Orange in it, he said, I love Tennessee. My family went to Tennessee. My daughters went to Tennessee. He said, I requested, we're going to work the Tennessee VIP suite. So, just that kind of person, that kind of attention and love for Nashville and love for the game. I think that's a big part in why a lot of the other teams and coaches and players love coming back, because it just, this is, I think, Joe, the most hospitable city maybe in the country. And I think we have a chance to show that every year at the bowl game, and it's pretty neat to see.
I totally agree with you on that. And you talk about, the kids go to Soundwaves last night. That's a whole staff at Gaylord putting together and do that. And Brad, I'll let you go. In 2016, Tennessee played the game against Nebraska. And I felt in 2016, Tennessee was like, okay, we'll take this bowl. I feel this year, though, that Tennessee is excited to be here, that nobody thought they'd be here, that they're really excited to be here and to play, which to me makes all the difference in the world of a good bowl game.
That's so true, Joe. Some years you have a team where they're not all that excited. They had other plans. They wanted to go other places. And then some years you have, teams where it just clicks. And, with a team like Tennessee that's won down the stretch the way they have, the win at Kentucky and so forth, the way the fans are excited, the way the donors are excited, and really the way the administration is excited, with the team. And I mean, it's a feel-good story. And, they won't come back to Nashville for several years now, the way the SEC does their bowl rotations. But this was a great year for us to have Tennessee. we're delighted. We're really excited to have Purdue, which is back again for the second time in about 3 or 4 years, and that's going to go really, really well. And so I don't know. It's one of those matchups that you kind of, when you look back on the history of the Vols, go, that was a really good year. If we can get the game underway and have it done, and I think we can, we're going to look back on this one and think, okay, that was a really good year because these teams really want to be here, and the fan bases do too.
I totally agree. Before we let you go, Peyton coming?
I don't know. You never. The beauty about Peyton is that you never really know, and he'll text you in the morning, go, "Hey, I'm on my way," and so it's like, okay, good, glad you're going to make it. But yeah, it was fun the last time we had him. The security getting him in and out was that was interesting too, because everywhere he goes, he is swarmed. I mean, like Tiger Woods swarmed. And sometimes the security that's supposed to be making sure he can get from point A to point B, they're so busy asking for his autograph that they're not even doing their jobs. That's a whole other story.
Oh man, Brad Lampley, thank you, man. I know it's early. Thank you so much.
Oh, good to see you, man.
I'll see you Thursday, buddy. I appreciate your time.
Sounds good. All right, buddy. Thanks.
All right, Brad Lampley, the Transperfect Music City Bowl. Such a great guy. And his son plays for Tennessee. What a fun time for him and his family watching the son come back and play at Nissan Stadium on Thursday. All right, we'll take a break. Come back with more Mornings on Main Street right after this.